Good evening, friends, and welcome to yet another very interesting and informative session. We have Major General Sudhakar Jee with us. Welcome, Sudhakar Jee.
Thank you, Jaydev. This is always a pleasure to connect with you or with your mother, and there is a great learning for me as well, and every time. And I hope whatever little my humble knowledge permits me, whatever little I'm sharing, they're of some use to the audience, and will continue as long as you want me to participate and contribute. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time, and our viewers, in fact, they appreciate the beats of knowledge that you impart through your sessions.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, please
Yeah.
go ahead.
So coming to the first point, Sudhakar Ji, is that as all of you know that Maduro and his wife was captured and brought to U.S. And they are under trial. And the raising concern is that the way Donald Trump is handling his American foreign policy, and no one expected him to one day come and lift up sitting head of state of a country and just bring him to the US, right? So I'm sure that people are saying that he has not consulted the UNSC before making such a move. So what is happening to Donald Trump?
Great question, Jaydev. Being a superpower, um, there are no, holds barred. They say there is a old this thing. They disregard anything and everything. Traditionally in the past. But why has Donald Trump done what he has done? This is the moot question people have to understand. You see, not that I am in support of his reactions or actions against Maduro or Venezuela, but the fact is, let's try to understand the bigger dynamics. The bigger dynamic is the multiple evils. They call it arc of evils or whatever axis of evil. All the axis of evil members they had concentrated in Venezuela. Okay, as per the perception of USA. Who are the axis of evil? You have Russia, you have China, you have Iran, you have Hezbollah, you have Hamas. Okay, and North Korea is not also to be excluded. Cuba, but the oil from Venezuela goes to Cuba, gets refined, and from Havana refinery it goes to China. And 80% of the oil produced in Venezuela goes to China. It's a hard oil, very difficult to process, but it goes to China. It is not happening for the first time. It's been happening for more than two, three, rather, I would say 4 decades now, at a discounted price of 50 to 60%. So it is actually causing a disruption in the supply chain of China. It is going to actually rub China in the wrong side. Now, why is he doing a thing like this? He's doing a thing like this because there is a bigger danger which is lurking. He's having traumatic, uh, uh, he's trying to cleanse the system during his tenure. What otherwise would have taken 40, 50, or 100 years by virtue of very mature and responsible policies, he's trying to do it in one day, or let's say in 2 years' time or 4 years. So, therefore, it will lead to turbulence as is being experienced by one and all, inside the country and outside the country, all alike. Okay, so therefore, so Maduro, uh, I'll quote just to save on time. In 2018, Maduro went absolutely public in announcing that the oil trade from Venezuela, firstly, no oil fields should be given to USA company. Although Chevron is working there, by the way. Okay, it supplies oil to USA, and Exxon Mobil is working in Guyana. So that is one thing he said. Second thing, what he said, which actually pricked, it irked Donald Trump very much, was in 2018, during his first tenure, 1.0 tenure, that all the oil transaction will take place in non-dollar currency. Now, if you are the superpower, you tell me, right under your, in your backyard, there is a guy who is to always toe the line of the sphere of influence or the domain of USA, and play to the tune of dictates of USA in Cold War 1.0. Suddenly, in 30 years, they have started talking a different language. So which superpower, if something happens like this in Sri Lanka, will India ever feel comfortable? Or in Maldives? Certainly not. So therefore, it is, although counter argument is that Venezuela is 4,500 kilometers away, but for a superpower, having had Monroe Doctrine in the past from 1823 onwards, okay, so for a thing like this happening, falling into the lap of China, complete Latin, it is not Venezuela, it is Colombia, Chile, Peru, Argentina, Bolivia. You have a host of other countries there. So all of them have become pro-Chinese. They are in the pocket or in the sphere of influence of China today. Russia's footprint is also enlarging. So under these circumstances, Donald Trump feels and he perceives that there is a third threat lurking. And more than that, if you recall, 20th of January, he came to power, 2025. And he came with focus and resolve to bring this mindless conflict between Russia and Ukraine to an end within 24 hours. It didn't happen. It never could happen that way because he had not understood the complexity. Soon he went through the journey of very complex navigation and he realized at times, if you recall, he used to flip flop. At times, he used to give very hard hitting weapon platforms to Zelensky or Ukraine. At times, he used to talk in support of Russia. Suddenly, he decided to give long range missiles to Ukraine. That was a kind of a trigger or turning point. And immediately after the long range missiles had been given to Ukraine, Russia thought, well, if you are resorting to this course of action to stop the conflict, well, we have no option but to go right at your backyard. And they went in for an agreement, a strategic military partnership between Russia and Cuba in the month of March 2025. And soon after that, within a couple of days, the Russian naval vessels which were popping up there in Cuban waters. Cuban water and Caribbean is not very far from each other. And on some of those platforms, you had missiles like Zircon, which has been designed and developed essentially to negate or neutralize the air defense platforms or the weapon systems of US Navy. And you have weapon systems like Oceanic, it's a hypersonic missile. It's also got inbuilt ballistic trajectories. And this missile can actually, fly at a speed of 10 to 12 Mach. 1 Mach is equivalent to speed of sound. 10 to 12 Mach means no radar system is existing on the world which can actually intercept or neutralize or detect these kind of missiles coming onto your own land. So obviously America will get jitters, and thereafter they started the National Security Strategy Doctrine 2025, which is actually a clean departure from the traditional orientation of national security strategy of America so far. They have been talking China is number one enemy, and Indo-Pacific, Quad, and all that thing. So there is a drastic turnaround which is taking place from December, consequent to the NSS 2025. In that, they have said, Europe, you fend for yourself. They have left them in a lurch. And they said, you increase your defense budget to 5%. Russia, they are saying, USA is saying, or Trump is saying, take it into the peer group. He is member of the peer group. Restore the status of G8 to Russia. Bring Russia back to and integrate with the ecosystem of geopolitics of the world order. Okay, so that it is pulled out of the deep embrace that it has gone in with China. And with China, they said, okay, you do whatever you want to in your sphere of influence. You do anything you wish to, as far as the Taiwan is concerned. We will neither point a finger nor raise any eyebrow, will not say anything. That's why you would have seen that consequent to Japanese Prime Minister's statements in the parliament and China, they almost came out to a very serious standoff. And they had encircled Taiwan with a very, very intense and I would say with the largest force content of any exercise so far has taken in the history of China and Taiwan. Okay, and what did Trump say? Trump said that I know Xi will not do anything. I'm not worried about this situation. Okay, you read between the lines in the national security strategy. It says that yes, as far as Taiwan is concerned, TRA 1979 strategic ambiguity, he's remaining silent. and whether it will support or not. But he's definitely saying that it will continue to support the allies along the first chain of island, or East China Sea and South China Sea, and beyond that. So, therefore, all I'm saying is that all these kinds of response is actually oriented towards one thing. What is that thing? We need to understand. There is a fear lurking in the mind of Donald Trump and all the American ecosystem that BRICS is going to overtake, or Global South is going to overtake. Time doesn't permit. Otherwise, I would have given you just a comparative statement. In 1995, although BRICS came into existence in 2006, 2008, 2009, I would say. In 2006, it started with South Africa, Brazil, and India, IFSA. Thereafter, soon it picked up momentum. It started with a very informal meeting of foreign ministers, and thereafter, BRIC came into existence in 2008, 2009, and by 2009 end, I think it got formalized. And South Africa joined in 2010-11. That's how it came into existence. But what I'm trying to bring in is share is that all the member countries of the BRICS, if you total up their GDP way back in 1995, as far as the PPP terms, it was just 16% of the global GDP. And the G7 leading economies, it was 43.06 or 04% approximately. Now, 15 years later, the 16% of BRICS had gone up to 26%, and the leading economies GDP, this is in PPP terms, okay, had come down to 36%. And in 2025, the leading economic GDP in relative terms has come down to 29.6 to 30%. And the GDP of the BRICS, mind you, BRICS, as I guess 5 founding members or initial members, has got 10 members now. There are 11, I think, waiting to join. Perhaps in India's presidential tenure this year, they will be joining. There are 50 more countries who have already applied. They want to join BRICS. Okay, and on top of it, Brazil has done that, an alternative of SWIFT. SWIFT is the transaction mode, intercontinental, transboundary transfer of money, okay, which USA dominates. So BRICS has started with the new system of BRIC payment across the borders. So with these kind of things coming, and 41 countries are already doing transactions in non-dollar currency. Okay, so under these circumstances, what is going to happen is that the pointer is pointing towards one thing clearly. What is it? That one thing is absolutely is putting a huge question mark on existence of USA as a superpower. So therefore, I would say that USA is mortally scared. No superpower would like to lose supremacy and authority ever. And Thucydide doctrine very clearly enunciates that the powerful will continue to do what it can, and the weak will always suffer what it must. There is an old saying of Thucydide. Thucydide was a historian, Greek historian. Also, the Thucydide trap says that no superpower will ever allow any rising power to come up to its footing. You understood? So therefore, under the circumstances, Donald Trump will keep on resorting to all kind of gimmicks to the world members. Citizens of the world will appear that he's gone mad, he's psychologically imbalanced now, now he's lost his head, he's not able to apply himself. Sooner people will start calling him that Joe Biden was still better. Donald Trump is actually dangerous. The Henry Kissinger made a quotation long time back. He said it's fatal to be a friend of US, but it is actually dangerous to be enemy of USA. Okay. So similarly, on a similar kind of analogy, I would say, actually speaking, USA is doing what it is thinking right, but that will not stop, that will not impede. Today, they have imposed, they passed, there is a bill in the Congress, 500% tariff. Is there any meaning in increasing the percentage of tariff on India? Anything more than 50% is irrelevant. So I'm glad that Narendra Modi is not called up and speaking. There is a lot of dialogue taking place. Narendra Modi didn't call up. I think the Secretary of Commerce of USA was making the statement. These are stupid statements, trying to provoke India. India would do well to maintain distance, smile, and maintain silence. That's it. That's my recommendation. Rest people are thinking at the highest level what best is the option, and we have a excellent, I would say, a very effective and competent Minister of External Affairs, and we should trust him and let him continue to do discharge his mandate as he is doing so far.
Yeah, so all the surrounding South American countries like Cuba, Argentina, Colombia, they are also nervous, isn't it? After this whole Maduro capture.
You see, this is the fact of life. Donald Trump can do anything anywhere. All of us were expecting perhaps next target will be Colombia, but suddenly he's changed, drilling his gun towards Greenland. Okay. And also, his mind was off. Suddenly he remembered there is a country like India and Narendra Modi is his best friend. And he said, okay, okay, now he imposed 500%. And he's being supported by that gentleman from Senate, the senator, I'm forgetting his name. He's the brainchild behind all this, not knowing that he's pushing America into such a kind of a blind well that it will be not difficult, it will be impossible to retrieve itself from that blind well anytime soon. It is going to, whatever declining was taking place, $38 trillion US debt, 128 to 30, 130% of debt to GDP ratio means $1 trillion is required simply to service the interest of this debt. You require $6 trillion to serve the nation or run the country. The revenue generation is 4 trillion. So there is a deficit of 2 trillion here, 1 trillion here. Every year you require something to the tune of 3 trillion additional dollars simply to meet the bottom line requirement. And tariff is not a new game. Tariff started long back in 1897 to 1901. The president was Kinsley Macklin or some Kinsley. President Kinsley, I remember, if I respect my memory, he also tried the same concept. You will impose tariff, and from tariff, you will run the federal budget. And finally, what happened? He was assassinated by his own people in 1901. Kennedy also tried out similar things. You had Nixon also who started in 1971. We all know what scandal that took place during Nixon's time. Okay, so and Bush also was into it. Many of them, including Ronald Reagan, he, after a very deep study, he came on the media and said that tariff is actually not a double-edged, it is single-edged weapon. What is that single-edged weapon? That it will keep hitting only one target. That target is USA. How did it hit USA? He's brought out a number of documents. If you carry out research study, he's highlighted a lot of things. That tariff imposed will be paid by the customer. If the customer of USA is paying that much of money, let's say a mobile costing say $1,500 will now cost 50% tariff going from India, I-17 let's say, you add on $1,500 plus 750, 2,250. Who's paying it? Is Donald Trump paying? Is federal budget paying? It is the customer who's paying. Once the customer pays, that means he requires more money. There is lesser money. It will lead to inflation. Inflation will further go to hyperinflation. Hyperinflation, there is no time, otherwise I would have elaborated. Economy gets impacted. You have hyper unemployment challenges. When the unemployment challenge is there, it leads to the livelihood existential problem. People come onto the street and it leads to anarchy. Anarchy will compel somebody out of these Republicans to go and shoot Donald Trump. So he's creating a target for himself and he's inviting the threat for his assassination. He's already gone through 3 assassination attempts, and the 4th one perhaps will be the final one. So I am a great admirer of Donald Trump, by the way, let me tell you. But not the way he's going about. This is not way. This is in 21st century. You simply cannot dream of such kind of practices. That is all I have to say. Anything else? Yeah.
Yeah, and also the funny thing is the big tech companies, they are investing so many $50 billion in India, isn't it? The American deep tech companies.
This is the paradox of reality. Paradox of reality is You see, on one hand, you have the head of the government doing such stupid things. The other hand, the very technical behemoths in USA. How many? Five or seven of them? Five, I think. Five have already committed to invest money close to 50 billion, like you were saying in India. Okay, there are many more coming. So, because the ecosystem, they call it a GCC. Now, the ecosystem available in India is by far the best in the world. Okay, so therefore, these are all very contradictory kind of steps being taken by Donald Trump. He must do a little bit of yoga, come to India, take a break, and not in one go start shooting all the guns, guns blazing everywhere. That is not the way to do. You getting
Right.
my point? So therefore, but it is onto a self-destructive path which is avoidable even now. If they take a very conscious decision, let him not try to do things overnight. Divide the objective into short term, medium term, long term. Long term means it could take 30 to 40 years. Try and have a bipartisan policy. He should not try to achieve. These are not political objectives, these are national objectives. It should be an integral and inherent part of the national security strategy doctrine. So these things are not coming out. Suddenly he decides to take Panama or Greenland or one small tiny island here and there. These things are very, very detrimental. They become major triggers. The whole Europe is going to be up with guns against USA. The same NATO, which USA was a founding father, will be actually trailing guns at USA. They will break. The NATO concept is going to collapse. It has already collapsed because the trust factor is the only glue factor or binding factor, cementing factor in such kind of organizations. Some organization which has lasted for more than 70 years is already shown very prominent fault line, which are difficult. These are irreversible prominent fault line which cannot be repaired, which cannot be cemented, which cannot be plugged. So therefore, in times ahead, we are going to see a multipolar world which USA doesn't like. It likes maximum two or three poles. USA, China, and Russia. But India, world without India is nothing. It will be total chaos. There is some rationality, some sense prevailing in the world today because of India. That is all I can say. Not that I am an Indian or you are an Indian, but I am saying because of political stability, because of some sense, it's a civilizational wisdom which India has. It is not 40 years or 70 years or 78 years of independence. It's civilizational. Our Vedic literature, they give you enormous Arthashastra. Okay, the statecraft that you talk of. It should become not the symbol, the epicenter of governance, the world, global governance. So there are many things in the country. Since time is at premium, you can go on and ask me any question that you wish to. I'll try and respond. Yeah. I think you have something about Pakistan, something about Bangladesh as well.
Yes, yes. See, the next point is Asim Munir is, the latest is he has, arrested, some seven Pakistani journalist YouTubers, for fanning the anti-army sentiment. So now he is going after, the press, the media in Pakistan as well. So does this ring any alarms in Pakistan?
Definitely, definitely. You see, firstly, Constitution Amendment 27 should have been a no-go as far as Pakistan is concerned. You don't give anybody legal immunity for lifetime. They have to be accountable. There are four pillars of democracy, any democracy, be it Islamic Republic or anything, except for the authoritarian type of rule is different. You have legislature, you have executive, you have judiciary, you have media. Now, what has happened? Executive has lost it because there is a puppet government. What is executive for our viewers? They must understand what do I mean by executive. The prime minister, his cabinet ministers, and minister of states, they form the executive. Okay, the legislature forms laws. Okay, in the parliament, they also have a bicameral system of parliament. Okay. Then you have the judiciary. What has happened in judiciary? In addition to Supreme Court, He has created a federal kind of a federal constitutional court. It has marginalized the Supreme Court. There is a Chief Justice in the federal. So that means he is nominating those people who do not object to his decisions. It has been done. The 18th Constitution, time again doesn't permit, otherwise, I could go on and on. 18th Constitution, which happened, amendment in 2010, that amendment basically what did it did? It actually empowered the judiciary system. It selected the judges based on the merit. The High Court, Supreme Court, the bench, constitutional benches, and all, based on the merit. So it had a selection committee. All right. So now that selection committee in the 26th Amendment, which was approved and implemented, I think in November 2024, if I am not wrong. Yeah, 24, most, 25. That actually what it did, it brought the executives, that is the political authorities, into the judiciary system. So they started planting their people. Why did he do it? He did it because the people in the selection committee, they went strictly as per the meritocracy. And meritocracy means the judge had the power to object to the decisions taken by the military authority or the political authority. Now, whoever is coming, they are towing the line of Munir. So everything has been compromised. The last saving grace, or the last blade of grass of the camel's back, was the media. Media has been trampled. It has been silenced. There is no media existing, independent media in Pakistan. Here is a case, you find a couple of you, 5, 6 of them, there is a judgment already to try them. They have given orders, whenever they come back to Pakistan, you arrest them, put them in jail, or try them as far as the judicial measures are concerned. So if this thing happens, and it's a very dangerous thing, Pakistan will be breaking bit by bit, and nobody can actually hold it together. India doesn't have to do anything. Nobody is required to do anything. The decisions which the insiders are taking, it will lead to a not anarchy or civil war. Civil war, the country will break up within itself. Very difficult to keep the artificially created country together in time's end.
Yeah. And coming to the last point, Sudhakar Ji, is that now as you know, the party of Sharif Usman Hadi, who was killed, that party has rejected the Dhaka police's charge sheet in his murder case. And so naming 17 people, mostly Awami League members, and accused the Mohammad Yunus-led interim government of, being involved in his killing. So how do you see this, like the things happening in Bangladesh as of now?
Another very critical thing evolving, changing dynamics in Bangladesh. In Jamaat, if you join the dots, their leader has been proposing time and again, let's form a united political party, because they know they will not make it. But now their penetration is so high, they've started penetrating. And what is BNP? If you read the history, it is because of BNP. BNP is the one which actually carried out amendment in the constitution in Bangladesh. It actually included Jamaati as a inseparable part and component of Bangladesh, because till then Jamaati has been kept out of Bangladesh purview. Jamaat was banned by Sheikh Hasina during her tenure. Again, the ban has been lifted by Yunus. Okay, so if you see, there is a historical legacy linkage between Jamaat and this thing. But since they are independent parties now, Jamaat has been trying its best to actually form a united party, because they know they can't make it. BNP is the most popular government. So under the circumstances, the specific question which you are asking, it is definitely forgery. They have raised within the Hadi's party or the group, they have raised an observation or an objection. They should call it out loudly. Okay, and that observation is that the charge sheet which has been framed, 17 of them, most of them belong to Awami League. Okay, but the fact of the matter is that it is Yunus, his party. He is responsible. He has planned and executed this particular not Fidaini attack, what do you call, unknown gunman shooting. Yunus has steered because Yunus was scared that if he doesn't do, then Hadi's party is going to dominate the entire political ambience. He was afraid that Hadi was turning so popular that he would be leading the governance. One really didn't know at that point in time that Rahman would be coming, Tariq Rahman will be coming back to Bangladesh. Now that he is back, things are going to turn very hostile and very volatile, even for him, until he goes through the journey of with the freedom of campaigning and freedom of speech. I don't think it is going to be a free and fair election. And even if it goes through, just for the heck of it, BNP will come to power. Jamaati will not take it kindly. Jamaati will keep on creating situations which will be very, very dangerous for BNP to handle. And it is something like that. What do you call the premature birth of a butterfly? Okay, premature. So, and it is the situation is such between the deep sea and the devil. If you go either side, you are into dangerous zone. So therefore, Bangladesh is to be handled with deft care, and India is doing good by keeping a very tight watch and surveillance on what is happening in Bangladesh. We have, I suppose, I presume, because that's the way I used to do when I used to dealing with the neighborhood during my time. There are red lines I'm sure they would have drawn. There are force allocation which would have taken place, and contingencies would have been identified. Resources would have been allocated in shortest possible time. If a particular red line is crossed, I'm confident that our armed forces would be ready. They would engage simply to neutralize and prevent another Pahalgam 2 taking place against India. This is my take, and that would happen by dominating the strategic escalation matrix. When I say dominate the escalation matrix, what it means is that the entry and the exit point conflict has to be short, truncated. It cannot be prolonged because the forces inimical to India and India's growth, they are trying to draw India into a long drawn battle which India has to prevent from going in. If we actually get drawn in, it will be very difficult. It is something like a swamp. Bangladesh is like a swamp. If you step into it, then you keep dal. You keep going into it, you cannot extricate yourself. Okay, so therefore, India has to take calculated response metrics, and my one-liner recommendation is look at the tap from where the flood of terrorism is flowing. Close the tap once and for all, and that tap is Field Marshal Munir and the ecosystem in Rawalpindi. Merely giving a message like last time, hitting Noor Khan base, which is not far away from Rawalpindi, is not good enough. Time has come where the army headquarters of Pakistan has to be hit, where the chief of the army staff of Pakistan has to be targeted by punitive, actionable, precision targeting. The political authority had to be targeted. The leadership, complete leadership has to be eliminated in one go. And also the complete military establishment, command, control, communication, surveillance, intelligence, all these things, wherever they are located. There are not many in Pakistan. If you could hit, you've been claiming how many 11 air bases, but the Pakistan Prime Minister, he's been blabbering from one place to another. Kabhi 17 hit ho gaya, kabhi 21, kabhi 27. I heard him or somebody told me, no, there are 27 air bases which have been hit. So if you could hit 27 and declare only 11, you hit all the targets. Have layers of targets to be targeted in future. This time it is now or never. There is no question. Nobody in Pakistan should be left in leadership, rung of leadership. Like they are targeting our pillars of democracy, India would do well to keep them, factor them in as far as target selections are concerned in Pakistan. You talk about media, talk about legislature, talk about executive, talk about, what did I miss? Executive, media, legislature, and judiciary. Nothing, everything should be targeted. They're targeting our nuclear scientists. ISI is targeting our nuclear scientists. They're targeting our corporate leaders. They're targeting our academician. Okay. And Raisen ricin is generally, incidentally, let me share with our viewers, ricin, if I recall correctly, it had been used targeting Donald Trump, by the way. People are trying to assassinate Donald Trump with the use of ricin. But don't take ricin as assassination ingredient only. It has got the ability to be aerosolized and used from an aerial platform, spread over cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, such like places, metropolis. After it settles down, when people start breathing in, it has the ability to result in mass scale killing in the city. So keep your mind open. It can be anything and everything. Like I was suspecting Indore, that contamination of water in Indore. So even if it is not there, you suspect that yes, there is some force inimical to this. Otherwise, hold accountability. Whoever is accountable must be, his heads must roll. Only then things will improve in our civic communities and healthy living and hygiene and sanitation. Otherwise, this is no way. We can't.
Yeah, so that was a wonderful session, Major General Sudhakar Jee, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Jai Hind.